Right, I think we're going to do a catch-up on two big matches that I've fished over the last month or so. Probably two of the biggest matches on the fishing calendar. The first one was the Fishomania Final, and then the second one we'll talk about is the recently MAV Match This final. But we'll start with the Fishomania. Now, the draw was done the night before. I drew Fishomania peg 19, permanent peg 23. And to be honest, leading up to it in practice, it was probably an area you didn't really want to draw. There was not a lot of fish caught around that area. But when I had a little walk round and I had a look at it on the actual night before the event, it looked pretty nice, to be fair. The wind was coming in from both directions, down both arms, and it looked really good. There was quite a bit of scum around, so I thought, if it's like that on the day, it could be all right and decent. As it turns out on the day, the wind was coming in again, both directions, pushing in, and the scum was sort of like to my right a little bit. So I half fancied it, to be honest with you. I think you've always got to go into them type of events confident anyway, no matter where you draw. So I tried to keep high spirits, keep it confident. My plan of attack for the day on the actual day was to fish casters short, top 5. It was pretty deep there, but the only other option was to bring it back a little bit. But I was thinking, with the nets coming in and out, was that a good place to start and have a line there? So whenever I opted to fish it at top 5, I fished the edge. Actually start the match in the edge on micros and expanders, and then change that to ground bait and maggots, and then across on casters as well. Now, as the match started, I started in the edge on micros and expanders. I had a really, really good run. I think I caught 8 kilo in the first half an hour, which was a really, really good start. Now, obviously there was a little bit of an error in the first weighing on my weighing. The scales, now people were saying that the scales were in pounds and ounces. Now I've seen a few videos of obviously when it was live on Sky, and the scales were in kilos. It come up on the scales at 18 kilos something, so really the scales were knackered. But the scale, obviously that got weighed. It got written down as 18 kilos, but within no time, within 5 minutes, they'd come back and I actually had another reweigh, so my net got taken out, my returning net got taken out, and I had another reweigh, and it got weighed correctly then of 8 kilos something, I can't remember. But that was my first weighing in the first half an hour. Now that was a really good start, that I thought. Leading up to the actual event, I thought, if I get myself off to a good start, I think that'll put me in good stead going forward. But I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think because of all the obviously commotion and stuff with the reweigh and things like that, my next hour of my match, I think I lost my way a little bit. In that actual next 2 weigh-ins, I think I caught like 3 skimmers. Now, I definitely feel like I lost my way just because I had to come off my short line because my nets got taken back out for a reweigh, and I dropped across and I didn't really get going. But I finally got myself back into it, and I started putting a few fish together short at 5 metres, and I changed my right hand line to ground bait and maggots, and I started catching a few on that, and it got better and better and better and better, and I sort of like had a few good weigh-ins where it shot me right back up that leaderboard, put me in contention. Now I think with obviously into the last few weigh-ins, I think I was right up there. I think I was either second or third between me, Jimmy Brooks 2 pegs to my left, and Dave Shires on M peg 25. So it sort of turned into a really good battle in the closing stages of the Fishomania Final. Really tight, to be honest with you, at the end. Really close. They always are close, them finals. Really good place for it, Westwood, for the fishing, because they're every year the finals so close. The fishing's tight. I think with 4 more weigh-ins to go, I think anybody was in contention of winning that. It was so tight. But it come to the end, and I think I weighed in, and then Dave weighed in, and I think it come up as on the way in that I was 100 grams short of winning it, and Jimmy was in third. I think he was not far behind. But obviously the match had finished. I'd just got off me. Now it come up when the match had finished. It had come up that I got beat by the 100 grams. Now the match had finished, and I'd just got off my box, to be honest with you. In 5 or 10 minutes, there was quite a few of the actual competitors and the bank runners are coming up to me, and there was round my peg. And then my bank runner Gary Rogers, he was getting a few text messages during the actual match and obviously after it, saying that if Kieran's close at the end, he should ask for a reweigh. They were the messages that Gary was getting on his phone and stuff like that. And then obviously a few of the competitors were telling me that, Kieran, you need to ask for a reweigh. And obviously I don't know, I was fishing my match. I was in the zone. It wasn't something that I was actually tuned in on the weigh-ins, and obviously left that to everybody else. But they was saying I need to ask for a reweigh. Now, in the end, we actually did end up having a reweigh, and believe it or not, I think when we had the reweigh between the three of us, I ended up losing weight. I think Jimmy ended up losing. I ended up losing, I think it was something like 2 kilo when we had the reweigh. Jimmy ended up losing like 3 or 4 kilo, and I think Dave lost a bit, but not a lot. So in the end, Dave ended up winning it, which is a true champion and made up for Dave. You can't take that away from him. He's fished a great match, and you know he's the champion. So well done to him. Now, there's a few things that obviously I've seen and people have been saying and stuff like that, that we asked for a reweigh over the 100 grams. It wasn't over the 100 grams that we asked for the reweigh. It was just the fact that because the scales were fluctuating up and down on live on TV, and obviously with the amount of people telling me this, and sort of like me and Gary were sort of like forced into asking for a reweigh. So it wasn't for the 100 grams. It was because of basically apparently that the scales were erroring and stuff like that. So that was the reason why we asked for the reweigh. But like you say, it turned out the right result in the end, and I still came second overall, which it was actually on before we had the reweigh. Jimmy was third and Dave's won it. So it was a wild time at Fishomania. Mad one, loads of controversy, but I really enjoyed it in the end. It was a cracking final, and I think like once I've done all that now, I've come away and I'm like, you're itching to get back in it again next year. So fingers crossed, when the qualifiers come out again next year, I'll be booking as many qualifiers that I can get myself on and try my hardest to get back in that final, because the buzz around it all is absolutely brilliant. One of the best experience for me in the fishing calendar. So yeah, I'll be back on that one. Now we're going to move on to the MAV Match This final. It was only a couple of days ago, to be fair. We're back here now at Ayfield Lakes doing a little bit of filming today. Now the Fishomania final, the MAV Match This final, I drew peg, I can't even remember what, I think it was MAV peg 13, I think, which was permanent peg 39 on Big Adams. It was on the spit, which, to be fair, I fancied it, to be honest with you. It is a good peg. It's on the spit, away from where the crowd can get, so you're sort of like, it's sort of like quiet around that area. And then I'd come in practice a few days before, I think it was 4 days before the actual final. I actually won the match, so I had loads of confidence. I had a game plan. I stuck to that game plan. It was to fish pellets on the long pole, up and down, pellets short, and ground bait and maggots in the edge. That was how I fished it on the practice match, and I did really well on it. So I stuck to my game plan, and that's how I fished it. Now, as it turned out on the day, I don't think it was the area to win the match outright, but personally on my fishing side, I didn't feel like I fished the best match I could fish. I ended up with, what did I end up with? 34 kilo something, and I think 36 kilo won my section. And to be fair, I feel like my peg was capable definitely of winning the section, but obviously I don't feel like I fished the greatest of matches. But yeah, that was my match. I caught a few on the long pole, I caught 2 or 3 on the long pole in the deep water on the bottom, a few short, and some in the edge. I lost quite a few on the day. Now, I don't feel like I had things quite right, so that's why I'd lost a few fish, but I definitely didn't fish the greatest of matches. Again, I enjoyed it. Another great experience and another final. I just can't wait to get back in next year. Jamie Hughes ended up winning that final. Another final he's won. That's his second one now. The man's an absolute machine when it comes to big money finals. He's just got that winning mentality. Knows how to work things out on the day, especially on these kart venues where every day is different, no day is the same. When it's bright sunshine, it could be a mugging match and not feeding any pellets, and that man can just work it out perfectly down to a T on the day. So Jamie won it. He's the champ. Well done, mate. Tom Edwards was second. He was on our lake on Big Adams. He wasn't far behind. He was only a few kilo behind. I could see Tom. He was to my left, about 4 pegs up to my left. He fished another great match in the edge, so he was a close second. And then Ashley Blunt on Little Adams, he was third. So I think he had £120, Ashley did, so he was third. So well done to them. Andy Powers won our section, and well done to them, all the section winners and stuff like that. It was a great final, and I can't wait to hopefully try and get myself back in them both next year again. But that's my catch up on my 2 big money finals for this year, and I'll see you again on the bank sometime soon.